Joseph Rothschild here, aka MBT, and Clash out, baby, sort of. So in case you're unfamiliar, Clash entered early access beta the other day, and as a result, anyone can now get in, not just the privileged few that have snuck a code off of my stream. This is a blessing and a curse. On one hand, I know a significant amount of people who were saying I will not touch Elestrals until there is an online component. I just don't have the ability to purchase a bunch of paper cards and then go to a locals every week, or there aren't locals that are set up around me. That makes sense. But on the other hand, this means for a lot of individuals, this is going to be their first and exclusive interaction with Elestrals. So I'm going to be giving my thoughts about the Clash rollout. So since the Clash release, I've played probably 10 or 15 hours of it, both on and off stream, with a variety of different decks that use pretty much every card that's currently in the game. As a result, I've got a pretty significant amount of experience with both the client and with people's reaction to the game proper. So I think I can give one of the better understandings of where I think the product lies right now. And spoiler alert, my end take is that it's somewhere in the middle of really good and kind of difficult to get into. So let's start with the good. The good is that it's Elestrals. Obviously, I wouldn't have this channel if I didn't believe in Elestrals as both a product and a game. I think it's extremely good. I think competitively, there's a lot of depth to it, but I think it's also easy to learn. Every set, they come out with new, more interesting stuff that cards are allowed to do. They just released spoilers for the new set, and it's unbelievable. Quick aside, if you're going to purchase cards from the new set, you should probably use my code in the description. The client is, with no exaggeration, a really great way to experience Elestrals. The games play at the pace of Elestrals. They use the cards from Elestrals. It's going to totally replace how I do 20 spirit testings. It's going to totally replace how I test for events and play events proper. And I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility to say this will probably be done before the year's end. On that note, the timeline has been absolutely bonkers. This thing has come together in like under 8 months, and if you all watched me play the alpha and then the late alpha and then the closed beta, you would be absolutely thrilled to see the state that Clash is currently in. During alpha, the things that needed to be fixed included pretty much everything. It was hard for us to play a single game on stream without encountering some extremely frustrating bug. All of the menus looked absolutely horrid. A significant amount of stuff was just totally unintuitive. For the most part, all of that has gone away. They've got nice animations in there. The opening a loot box looks really, really good. On that note, the monetization is unbelievable. So you just get every card for free. They just hand you every card. Free download, then they hand you every card. What you can upgrade is the foiling on each individual card. This is kind of a lot like Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega, if you've ever played it, but it goes a lot farther than Omega did. For instance, not only can you customize the foiling pattern on your individual Elestrals, you can also change the borders, and you can change the entry animation. Like you get a of smoke when it comes in or something. This rocks. Personally, I like this a lot. Okay, so that's the good stuff. And it's promising that the good stuff is you can play the game and it works as intended. Let's talk about the bad. So first off, there's a lot of functionalities that just generally need to be changed. Casting spirits from the graveyard with an effect like Volcari's Champion is kind of weird if you have Spirit Autocast on. Like it autocasts one and then you click the spirit in graveyard to enchant it, but then you have to unclick the spirit from the spirit deck, and you can't unclick the spirit from the graveyard because the system isn't designed to deal with that. Everyone who's played even one match knows that suppression doesn't exactly work. There's a visual bug with respect to something that's been Gorgon's gazed. It just lingers forever. When you log in, it takes you to an in-browser page that says like JSON success equals true, which is fine, but looks kind of cheap. I expected it would just be a page that says login successful. There are a couple gameplay bugs that haven't yet been resolved. You don't get to see what your opponent called off a Winjin. Occasionally, you can't set a face-down rune in any slot, just to the one like closest to your spirit deck. Resting on laurels just doesn't work sometimes. This is the one like gameplay element that I think does need to be fixed immediately. And then there's some customization options that need to be changed as well. At present, when you make a deck, the card displayed as the cover card is the one that costs the most, but that's almost always going to be Hurricane. So I'm thumbing through a list of decks and I'm like, all right, there's Majursa and there's Hurricane, 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 Hurricane. If you export a deck using the deck export feature, you unfortunately are not going to be able to export the spirit deck as well, which means people kind of have to guess. But to be clear, that's all little stuff. What I'm describing is a series of things that will impact customization or how intuitive each individual effect is. With maybe one exception, most of the bugs are gone. From here on out, it feels like we're smoothing out the edges on a finished product, not necessarily trying to create something. Which I can't say for the tutorial. This is the big one for me. If you look at the early access Steam reviews, you'll see that they're mixed, which was shocking to me. Like, I really liked the client. I thought it worked fantastically. I could not believe that people weren't enjoying it. But through both the negative reviews and a bunch of people talking on Blue Sky, which I didn't expect to be able to find, I did get a little bit of insight into why those negative reviews might exist. By and large, they don't mention the customization options or the bugs that I described. They're about something else. See, I had envisioned Elestrals Clash as a product akin to Master Duel. It was almost impossible that someone was going to accidentally stumble onto this piece of software. That the only people that were going to sit down and play this were individuals who were already entrenched. But this goes back to the type of person that I described in the very beginning of this video, people who were like, I refuse to touch Elestrals until there's an online component. A lot of the people playing early access were new players. And if you are a new player, at present, Elestrals Clash does not do a very good job of telling you how to play. Rather than explaining everything to you, it has you do a couple of hands-on tutorials, which I get, like that makes sense, but they don't really teach you too much at all. They teach you the basics of like performing an enchant, and then you do a nexus at one point. There is an ascension, but it's mostly just doing what Zeus tells you. Like, you're not giving an underlying understanding of any of these things. Like, what is a nexus? Why would you ascend? It's basically just like, here's a situation where you have to perform these clicks in this order. Do it, and then we can go to the next one. Second thing about the tutorial is that it should be optional. So Clash had a reset prior to launch of the closed early access beta, then a couple of days later for the open early access beta. Each of those resets caused the individuals who already had accounts to have to do the tutorial again, which was boring. It's like 10 minutes maybe, but it's a long 10 minutes. And thirdly, the tutorial is really buggy. I played like 6 hours of individual games against other people on stream, and we encountered a bug once, specifically with resting on your laurels. Twice if you want to count the Chrysor reenchant, which I thought was a rules thing. The tutorial is just bugged, like a lot of the time. And it's bugged in such a way that can either soft lock your account and you have to reach out to the people who made the game to try and get them to unlock it, or you have to reload the tutorial and then it'll start you at the one that you were on. That Trifernal one, it literally takes me like 2 or 3 tries every time I have to paw through it. The end result is as soon as you load into Elestrals for the first time, you are subjected to a tutorial that doesn't do a great job teaching you the game, doesn't work, and has a worst case scenario of preventing you from ever playing the game at all. The biggest downside is once you complete the tutorial, it throws you directly into ranked with a starter deck. It's like, now you have an understanding of the game, try it out. And then you just get washed by someone who like built something. I don't like that as a finale at all. I don't. I think that's not good. So that's my first impression of Clash. I think it's a fantastic vehicle for people who are already playing Elestrals to hone their skills, test, and enjoy playing the game without having to go to locals. I think for a lot of people who didn't have a locals around them or weren't willing to get into the product until they could consistently play it online, this is your sign to start doing so. But I think it definitely fails new players by way of a tutorial that is not a particularly good explainer. I don't want to sound like I'm coming down too hard on this product. I do still think it's really fantastic. And like I said earlier, I think at this point what we're doing is smoothing the edges off of something that is going to be really fantastic. That something already exists. It just requires us to be a little more precise in its execution. Anyway, that's it. If you want to download Clash, there will be a link in the description. And also, if you purchase anything in the Clash, purely cosmetics, of course, use my code MBT so I can get some money in the process. That's all. See ya.